What's up, everyone? It's the OOTP GM, and I want to welcome you to the 17th episode of my Detroit Tigers GM Let's Play here on Out of the Park Baseball 18. So we're here at the beginning of the 2020 offseason, and our team had a really nice finish to the year. We ended up going 80-82, finishing 7 games back in the division. We played really well after the after the trade deadline. We ended up finishing the season on a 7-game winning streak, but we won 11 games over 500 in the last 2 months of the season. If my math is right, we went 35-24 because we were 45-58 at the trade deadline. And the Minnesota Twins played themselves out of a playoff position. They lost 8 straight games to end the year, and that's got to be disappointing when something like that happens. But it is what it is. And in terms of the playoffs, the Los Angeles Dodgers won the World Series again. It is their third in 4 years. They came back from a 3-2 deficit over the Texas Rangers, and they won the last 2 games to get the victory. And in the League Championship Series, it was interesting because Tampa Bay, I believe, tried to make it a series against Texas, but Texas closed them out. The Dodgers just dominated the Cubs in the NLCS. So the Dodgers look like a full-blown dynasty at this point. And one of the things that was interesting about the Dodgers, I was looking them up, and I was looking at some of the different guys that we moved in that trade that we made in the offseason. And I was looking up some of the players. Jacoby Jones played in 139. He started 139 games, 151 games played overall, and he had himself a really good year. And this is what I was afraid of when we traded him, that he was going to kind of break out a little bit. So they actually have him playing third base instead of center field, which is a little bit interesting. But Jacoby Jones kind of broke out for them. And then Justin Upton was not a starter for them, it doesn't look like. Had a okay year for them, but was not a starter for them. So Jacoby Jones, at the current point, obviously that's a little disappointing to see him have that sort of year after we moved him. But the Dodgers were just a completely dominant team, so I'm not at all surprised at how they, the fact that they won again. For us, though, it was a really good second half. Bryce Harper, spoiler alert, if you didn't see the last episode, we traded for Bryce Harper. It was a huge, huge trade deadline deal. He was really good for us after the break. You can see he slashed 299, 413, 562 after we traded for him. And he was really, really good for us. Max Pentecost had a really nice year for us this season. Cody Eves had his breakout campaign. Cabrera still going strong here at 37, had himself a nice year. And even some of our other guys started to play. Even the Zach Shepard had a decent year, 242, 28 home runs, and 67 RBIs. If you get into some of the more advanced stats, like 2.5 WAR from Max Pentecost, 2.5 WAR from Cabrera, 5 WAR from Cody Eves, 2.4 from Mr. Shepard, and then Bryce Harper had a 4.8 WAR. He had 2.1 with us after the break. So, and that's in less games. So he played really well for us after we got him in the trade. In terms of pitching, Michael Fulmer had a really nice bounce back second half after being injured early in the year. 3.75 ERA, 3.25 FIP, 5.2 WAR. And then Walker Buehler, he struggled a little bit in his opening campaign, but again, I think he'll be fine for us moving forward. Beau Burrows also struggled. He was kind of up and down. But his numbers are kind of inflated because at one point during the season, they allowed him to stay in for some reason. He had 13 earned runs, so that kind of hurt his numbers a little bit. Aaron Slegers, again, he started 16 games for us. He was actually decent down the stretch. And then Spencer Turnbull was pretty good. He got injured near the end of the year. We ended up calling up Alex Faedo at the end of the year. He made 5 starts. His numbers don't look great, but that was because he got just crushed in his very first start that he had, 6 earned runs in 1 2/3 innings. But he also had some other really good starts, so it looks like he's going to be a part of our rotation moving into next year. We also have one front office move. Alex Avila retired So I extended an offer to a guy named David. I think it's Forst was his name. He was the general manager for the Oakland Athletics the last couple of years. So I extended an offer to him, and that's pretty much the update for what happened here at the end of the season. So we have some option years that we have to deal with. We got our contract extended by our owner, Chris Illich, so another 3 years for him from him. We have some option years to deal with here. We're obviously not going to. We're going to avoid these options, as I think I stated before. We're going to avoid Scope and Marte's options. Then this is just a review of how we did during the season and what he's looking for us next year. And so this is the guy that we ended up, right here, David Force. This is the guy that I offered a contract to. So if you head into salary arbitration, and we're obviously not going to, Rusney Castillo's arbitration number is outrageous. We're not going to bring him back on that. When he becomes a free agent, if his number comes down, we might look to bring him back, but I'm not going to pay him that kind of money. That's just outrageous. Obviously, Kristen Stewart, we're going to offer an extension to him. I'll offer him $900,000. He's, a big part of our rebuild, a big part of our team moving forward, so we're going to bring him back. And then some of these guys, Jacob Barnes is still injured. He missed almost all of this season, so we're not going to bring him back because I believe there's going to be other relievers out there that we can look to. Stump had a really great year for us, so we are going to bring him back on a deal. I'm going to offer him pretty much what his arbitration number is, which is $1.1 million. We're going to offer him that. And then Hunter Strickland struggled for us. Remember, we got him in the Rule 5 draft, and he struggled for us this year. So, again, we're not going to bring Strickland back. I believe there are other guys that we can look to bring in. So we're not going to bring him back. And then Micah Johnson was really good for us in limited action. So we're going to, and he's a good clubhouse guy. So we're going to bring him back on a small extension. I'm going to offer him pretty much the same thing, $1.1 million, which is pretty much his arbitration number. So we're going to bring him back. And then in terms of these free agents, Jonathan Scope, I'm probably not going to bring back because now that we have Santana up, he's probably going to be our starting shortstop moving into next year. And Scope's numbers have started to dip and his ratings have dipped, so we're probably not going to bring him back. Souza's injured and, again, didn't play very well for us, so we're not going to bring him back. We're not going to submit qualifying offers to these guys because their salary demands are not going to be that high. Marte's an interesting guy because he's willing to be a bench player, and although he does not have very good fielding ratings, he still is a decent hitter of the ball, and he's a great clubhouse guy, which is why I'm really interested in bringing him back, especially if we can get him on a reasonable offer. And he's looking for $11.5 million, which for me is too much money. I'm not going to pay a guy $11.5 million to be a backup. So as much as it pains me to do this, I'm going to have to let all three of these guys walk, and I'm not going to submit qualifying offers to any of them in that regard because it's not going to be worth it for us. I'm not going to pay Marte. As much as I like him, I'm not going to pay him $15 million to be a backup on our team. Now, the one other thing I wanted to show you guys, which could potentially be a big movement for us this off season. As I wait for these things to load, here we go. So, and I just missed it. Sorry about this. Okay. Upcoming free agents. Here we go. Okay, so one of the guys that could potentially be a free agent this offseason, Mike Trout. Now, I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't signed an extension with his team because they did make the postseason, I believe. But Mike Trout's 29 years old. He's still playing really, really well. And if we could get Mike Trout, if he doesn't sign an extension and he ends up going into free agency, and we could get Mike Trout, that would be huge. I mean, imagine pairing Mike Trout with Bryce Harper. Talk about a massive boost to our team. Obviously, there's always a chance that he doesn't file for free agency, but if he does, it's going to take a lot of money to get him, but we're going to have lots and lots of room for money for free agents. That's kind of why we've been biding our time with all of these guys over the last few years. And in terms of other players, there's some interesting guys on this list that I would be interested in offering deals to. A lot of closers, a lot of relievers, high-end guys. It's going to depend on what their demands are going to be. But there are a lot of really solid relievers that could potentially be available. And even like Carlos Carrasco, he's out for 15 months, so we're not going to offer him a deal. But there are some guys on here that we could potentially get, like Aaron Sanchez. We could potentially get him on a discount. And he's only 28 years old. Imagine adding him to our starting rotation. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and we will head back to the team home screen here. I'm going to go ahead and move forward to the beginning of the awards. We'll see what kind of, if the guys agree to the contracts. I'm pretty sure they're going to agree to the contracts that we offered him. And, I gotta activate him. There we go. Alright, let's try this again. So I'm pretty sure those guys are going to agree to those contracts that we offered him, but the big thing is going to be whether or not Mike Trout becomes a free agent or not. If he becomes free agent, that is huge for us. So we did get, David Force did react, he wants me to increase the salary. Okay, I can do that. So, let's do 4 years. Oh, he doesn't want to be an assistant GM. Oh, man, that's not cool. Alright, so we're going to have to find another general manager to fill that void. Let me head in here. Let's look at the available GMs. I was looking at some of these guys in terms of guys that I was looking to fill the role in terms of different players. So, whoops, we want general managers. There we go. I really want to force. Preller is also an interesting guy. Most of the time, you're just getting these guys. They'll tell you whether or not they think a trade is good or not. But Preller's a young guy. Let's see if he's not interested in being an assistant GM either. So that's not good. Let's see. What about Paul Podesta? 882,003. All right, I'm fine with that. So we'll see if Paul Podesta wants to join our front office. So, all right. So now we're gonna go ahead. Like I said, I'll move forward here to see if these guys accept those contract offers that we made to them. And from there, like I said, I'm fully expecting them to accept those offers. I don't think that's going to be an issue. And then we obviously will need to see what free agents file, because we are going to have so much money that we are going to be able to have for players. And let's see. So Kristen Stewart and Daniel Stumpf both signed their contracts. Trade proposal, as always, another garbage trade offer. All right, so I think those are the only guys that we were offering deals to. Is that correct? Oh, and Micah Johnson. And like I said, I expect Johnson to accept that offer. So I'm going to move forward here again to the beginning of the award season. Like I said, I expect Johnson to accept that offer, and it looks like he did, and he did. So all the guys that we are going to re-sign did re-sign, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip forward here just a bit, and I'm going to go to the beginning of the filing of free agency. And what I'm going to do is in one fell swoop, I'll review all of the award winners. I will do my Hall of Fame vote, and we'll take a look at who's going to be in free agency. And we can look and see if we are going to have a chance to add Mike Trout to our team. So I will see you guys at the beginning of free agency, and we will review all of the stuff that you see here. Alright guys, so we are here at the beginning of free agency, and I wanted to show real quick that Paul Podesta did sign to be our new assistant GM. And I'm going to go through the award winners real quick. So for the Gold Gloves, we actually got a couple of Gold Gloves here. Spencer Turnbull won the Gold Glove for pitchers, and Max Pentecost won it for catchers. So we had two winners there. And then best reliever was Edwin Diaz for the Seattle Mariners. We did not have anybody finish in the top three. For Silver Sluggers, we had Cody Eves won the Silver Slugger for second base. And that was it. We did not have any other winners in that regard. And then this Alex Destino was the top rookie for the AL. Josh Tobias and Kyrie Washington finished second and third. We didn't have anybody there. Kevin Cash won the AL Manager of the Year for the Tampa Bay Rays. And then Chris Sale wins the Cy Young in the American League. He had a 15-8 record, 2.81 ERA, 272 strikeouts. I think he was close to winning the pitching Triple Crown. He's a couple wins shy, but he was very, very close to winning it this year. Garrett Cole finished second, and Luis Severino finished third. In the NL, Julio Urias won the Cy Young. He has turned into a monster pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. 19-4, 2.05 ERA, and had 211 strikeouts. And then the AL MVP was this Lourdes Gurriel Jr. This is his second consecutive MVP award. He just missed out on the Triple Crown again. Finished a few home runs, RBIs, and average shy, but he was very close to winning the Triple Crown again. Gleyber Torres finished second, and Omar Mazzara finished third. Corey Seager won the MVP, I believe, for the second consecutive year in the NL. 335, 40, and 124. Nolan Arenado finished second, and Julio Urias finished third in the MVP vote. So that's the end of the awards there. And then the big news here was Mike Trout filed for free agency. So we're going to have a chance to try and sign him. It's going to take a lot of money. And then in terms of international free agents, I hadn't had a chance to look at these yet. It does not look like, a second baseman. But we don't need a second baseman. He is 27, but we don't need a second baseman. If he has any other positions that he plays, does he play any other positions? Okay, so he plays second, short, and left. All right, he wants $21 million. All right, well, for our number one priority at this point has to be Mike Trout. He needs to be the guy that we look to go after. So we're gonna head in here. We're gonna head into the off-season center, and we are going to look to make an offer to Mike Trout. I'm going to see if there are any other free agents that I want to look to make any offers to. We're going to have a lot of money to. I need to send this back to Detroit. I kept watching the Angels page to see if Trout was going to sign or not. We also we will do our Hall of Fame voting very soon as well. So, all right. So for free agents, Mike Trout's obviously going to be our number one target. If we can add him to the team that we're building, that I think catapults us not only into the playoffs but also into massive contention. So we're going to go here, and we're going to look to sign Mike Trout. I'm just going to go straight to the center fielders. So Mike Trout is here. He's looking for $37.5 million, but if you can see, we have nearly $85 million that we can spend on free agents. So we have plenty of money to be able to offer guys. Now, he wants an 8-year deal. I'm not quite comfortable giving him 8 years. I would rather do 6. And then do a team option for the last year. And then he wants $37.5 million. So what I'm going to do to try to soften the blow just slightly is I'm going to make this a $40 million team option. We'll take this down by 2, take this down by 1. So it's a lot of money to pay him, but we have a lot of money for free agents. And how often do you have a chance to have Mike Trout and Bryce Harper on your team at the same time? So we're going to ask for his response. He seems to like that offer. 6 years, $225 million. And we will head back. And I want to take another quick peek to see if there are any other free agents that I am tempted into signing. Obviously, we're going to be looking maybe at relievers or starting pitchers. See if there's any guys there. So there are a lot of relievers here. Zach Britton, Wade Davis. A lot of these guys are closers. Liam Hendricks is interesting. He's looking for $5.5 million. We got this Mike Morin, who's 29. He's looking for $5 million. Aaron Sanchez is interesting. His wrecked injury is not really all that exciting, and he's still injured for 2 more weeks. But he's only looking for $3.8 million, and he is a really solid pitcher. I am willing to take a chance on him. So I'm going to offer him a contract. He's only looking for 1 year. Let's go ahead, and I'm actually going to make this. I'm going to make a 2-year offer and make the second year a team option and see if he'd be willing to do that. He only wants 1 year, so all right. So we'll do 1 year at 3.85. Okay, so I mean that's a potential big steal if we can get Sanchez there, even though he's got a massive injury history. If we can get him, that would be, I mean, he'd be our 5th starter like immediately, a plug and go 5th starter almost immediately. And then obviously a few other relievers that I'm gonna have to take some time and look through these guys because I don't want to unnecessarily drag out the length of this episode. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the Hall of Fame voting real quick, and then what I will do is I will look through here, and when I pick you guys back up for the next episode, the second part of the off season, I'll fill you guys in if I made any other offers, and we'll see what happens with Mike Trout. So real quick, just want to go in here and do the Hall of Fame voting. So there's a few new guys this year. I haven't had a chance to look at the ballot yet, but we're going to start with the obvious guys first. So we're going to do Vladimir Guerrero. We're going to do Roy Halladay. Tim Hudson's a newcomer. In my opinion, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, so I'm going to vote for Tim Hudson. I'm going to vote for Jeff Kent. I'm going to vote for Mike Mussina. I'm going to vote for Curt Schilling again. I'm going to vote for Jim Thome again. And then let me take a look through all of the newcomers here. So we got Mark Burley. Mark Burley does not quite fit the mold for me. I know his ERA is a little bit high for my liking. He doesn't have a lot of strikeouts. Did win some Gold Gloves, was a 5-time All-Star, but I think he falls just short in my book. And then Dan Heron, not close. Torrey Hunter is an interesting guy. He had a pretty solid career, good Gold Gloves. I'm going to vote for Torrey Hunter, and not just because he played for Detroit, but I'm going to vote for Torrey Hunter. I think he's close, but I think I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to vote for him. Aramis Ramirez, I think Aramis Ramirez falls just short for me. I kind of want to see what the computer votes for him first before I make a decision on him. Then most of these other guys, I don't think that I can vote for. C.J. Wilson's definitely a no, and Barry Zito at one time probably was a surefire Hall of Famer, but then his career kind of fell apart. So it's going to be an 8-player ballot this year. That is my ballot. We're going to submit that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. I will pick up with you guys at some point, either at the Rule 5 draft or right before the Rule 5 draft, depending on what's going on. I'll update you guys on any free agent movings or any other moves that we make at that time. But as always, feel free to like and subscribe. Comments and feedback are always welcome. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys for the second part of the 2020 offseason.